Hey everybody, it's 123 Mr. B here, ready for another little quick video on breaking math, where we take math and break it down so that we can actually go places with it. In this video, we are going to be talking about complementary numbers. Now, you might have never heard about this stuff before, so just open your mind and your heart, and let's see if we can go places with this. First of all, complementary things have to do with things that go together nicely, like bread and jam or bacon and eggs. Things that when they're together, they are better in our minds, right? There's coffee and sugar. There's all sorts of things that we can think about like that. Well, numbers are also the same sort of thing. Think about skip counting. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Which of these numbers, I bet you, most people out there would say that skip counting by tens is probably the easiest. I actually know people who are like afraid of skip counting by these things because they're hard, and sometimes, doing hard things can be scary, and I understand that. So how about this? Instead of skip counting or instead of thinking about these things, what if we figured out complementary numbers to get ourselves to these numbers? Instead of having to use these kinds of numbers, imagine how much easier life would be if we got to use things like tens or maybe hundreds or even thousands, much easier to deal with. So that's what we're going to talk about, complementary numbers to 10, 100, and 1,000. And when we do this, we undo all the memorizing, and instead we learn how to build math. That's what we're doing here. We're building math. So let's look at 10. Okay, 0 plus 10, obviously that's 10. 1 plus 9, 2 plus 8, 3 plus 7, 4 plus 6, and 5 plus 5. So these here, I know that at this stage, all of you know that these are how you get to 10. And therefore, you can say that 0 and 10 are complementary numbers to 10. 1 and 9 are complementary to 10. 2 and 8 are complementary numbers to 10, and so forth. Pretty straightforward. But what about harder ones, like complementary numbers to 100? What if I said, what's the complementary to 37? What is going to be there? 37 plus something gives you 100. Well, instead of trying to memorize, as there's loud people outside my classroom, instead of trying to memorize what this number is, we can build our way there. Let's use a different number. I'm going to use 33, okay? So if I know by heart that 3 plus 7 is 10, then it must be true that 30 plus 70 is 100, right? Now, I know this is true off by heart, and that means all I have to do is kind of move some pieces of this pie over to this pie instead to get my number here. So if I add 3 to this stack, and I take away 3 to this stack, there's my little thought cloud, I'm going to end up with 33 and 67 equals 100. So I know that the complement to 33 is 67. Why? Because when you add them up, you get 100. Now, a lot of people will say, they'll look at this number, oh, 33, what's the complement? Well, it must be 77, because if I add that together, there's 10 and there's 10, right? So a lot of people will fall into this trap by saying, just make them all add up to 10 and you'll be fine. I wonder, can you hear that? There's loud people outside again. Anyway, I'll survive. Okay, so that's complementary numbers to 100. What about complementary numbers to 1,000? It's all about building numbers again here. So I have 1,000. I want to figure out what's the complementary number to another. How about this? 232. Do I know the number to 232? Well, I know that the complement to 200 is 800. That gives me 1,000. I know that if I add 30 here and I take away 30, so I'm adding 30 and minusing 30, I'll have 230 and 770. So I know that's going to give me 1,000. I'm almost at 232. So if I add 2 more and subtract 2 more, I'm going to have 232 and 768. Whoops, that line isn't supposed to be there. 232 and 768. So I can see the complement to 232 will be 768. All right? So that's how complementary numbers work, and I'll have some example videos for those things. Just trust me on the purpose, get fast at those things, and I'm going to stop this video because there's loud people outside my class.